The political all-stars are up shortly, Whānau, but first, this week's one-on-one in 10 with Te Pāti Māori co-leader Debbie Ngarewa-Packer. Kia ora, comrade! Welcome to the show and thank you for being available to the Fourth Estate. Your democracy is grateful. Debbie, let's start with the good. I've been commenting on politics for 30 years now, and the Tāmaki Makaurau by-election was a bombshell win, using a social media first strategy that captured the hearts and minds of a younger demographic who are increasingly becoming more politically dynamic and utilising their voice. You didn't just beat Labour, you demolished Labour. Is now the time, after such an emphatic win, to negotiate an MMP strategy for the Māori electorates with Labour for the 2026 election?
Look, first of all, ngā mihi for your recognition of how awesome Tāmaki Makaurau did in such a short amount of time.
Right.
We're really grateful and proud of all their tautoko. We have always offered ourselves up. We offered to meet with Jacinda, we offered to meet with Chris and talk about what a relationship to get rid of this government could look like. That hasn't been taken up. We were a party that campaigned on our wealth tax, that campaigned on Whānau Ora, of GST, of Kai, of taxing the mass property owners. And, our candidate went out there and she spoke our truth and the transformation that we want to do to stop the bloody pain that's going on with everybody in Aotearoa. And we need Labour to step up and acknowledge that those are the best ways for us to distribute wealth and bring well-being for everybody. They weren't ready to have that discussion before the election, and certainly didn't present it during the election. So, bit of time to go, I think. Let's
talk the bad. If we agree that this is the most anti-treaty, anti-Māori, anti-worker, anti-renter, anti-disabled, anti-beneficiary and anti-environment government we've ever seen, isn't there an obligation on the political opposition to find a way to work together to kick this government out? What's the point of winning the by-election battle if we lose the election war?
Yeah, I think there is. And there needs to be an understanding that the politics and indeed those of Aotearoa have changed. And I think some of the bigger parties, the settler parties, aren't ready to have that conversation. I think it is just a matter of acceptance and maturity that it's going to be Te Pāti Māori in a position to determine who we will go with. If I was them, I would be doing it differently. If I was them, I would have been talking out about the policies and the common ground that we have with tax. You see us in Pāti Kakariki are already doing that. We've been very open about what we think Aotearoa needs to do. And I think it's more about those other parties really taking it seriously about how we need to get this most destructive, ugly, hateful government out. And we're up for it. We're committed to doing that.
Let's talk the ugly. Doc's post on the ethnicities of Labour's volunteers gave Sean Plunkett, Mike Hosking, David Seymour, Don Brash, Winston Peters and Heather Duplessis-Allen all the political ammunition they could desire to paint Te Pāti Māori out as sectarian and impossible for Labour to be in government with. How do you respond to that narrative?
Oh, look, it's a narrative we've had for the last 18, 19 months, so it's not one that we're unused to. The fact that they paint us out as being extremists and exclusive is not one that we're not used to. We're human. We get feels when we're up against it, and the party leaders apologise. And I think that is the mana that needs to be asserted through that, through that discussion. But you've got to remember, even if we don't say anything, they will still find a reason to hate on the party because we threaten. We threaten the very people who fund them. We threaten the 2%ers that own more than 50% of the wealth. And, sometimes they've got to find every opportunity they can. And I think we tidy that up really quickly.
This all matters because recent polling from Courier and Roy Morgan increasingly show Labour plus Greens plus Māori Party would be the government. And with so many whānau working their fingers to the bones to just keep their heads above water. Those who can't buy butter, let alone a house, they are desperate for some hope that an alternative government of Labour, Green and Māori Pāti can save them from this terrible right-wing government. Can you give those people in New Zealand that hope tonight?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We've always been really straight up. It's disgusting how the waiting queues within hospitals. It's disgusting the way that the government's trying to move towards privatisation of health.
Yes.
It's disgusting how they're expecting people to pay $18, $19 for butter. All our policy platform addresses not only the solutions, but also helps us to restore what Aotearoa could be and should be. So absolutely, we've got a manifesto that is strong, and it lays it out for our people, for the, again, 90% of the population get a better cost of, a better life, a better quality of life from our policies. And I believe that us and Te Pāti Kakariki are up for it.
Yep.
We just need Labour to remember they're a left party and get on board and show some bravery and courage and start looking after those who work hard and deserve to live better. And I think that's, and I get that reluctance because we do threaten the norm. We are going to tax, those corporate entities. We are going to make sure that our environment and our families are looked after and they can enjoy a good life. And that does mean some transformation. We are going to make sure that Te Tiriti isn't something that's ever up for trading again. So, yeah, of course we're up for it. And we're looking forward to it as well.
Māori voters in the Māori electorates are some of the most tactical voting blocs in New Zealand. This government are moving to ban special votes by 12 days up to election day, a clear and open voting suppression campaign against 450,000 voters. Why shouldn't the left look strategically at using MMP to counter these right-wing voter suppression tactics?
Oh, look, I think that they should be. And again, like I say, we've always been up to working together. And we've been like that from the moment we got them, when there's only two of us. What we see is that, Māori voters and the unapologetic voice for Māori is going to grow.
Yep.
We have every confidence we'll get the Ikaroa Rāwhiti and we'll get some general seats as well. And I think, we've got a party that's not used to seeing ones like ourselves growing so solidly. And I get what you're saying. We use social media. Actually, we're also out there on the ground face to face. And I think, those, it's an and we get to feel. And I think what we've got to see is that there is an absolute commitment, and it can only be done when we all agree to work together to get this government out. And
Preach.
Like I say, we've always been up for it. It's whether people are ready to be brave and to be bold and to come up with the policies. And that was half the problem for Paul Penny, is that, we had Ordinary out, saying this is our platform. He couldn't offer anything. And, people want to know now. We're hurting. They want to know what we're going to do. Whānau Ora, for example, as a kaupapa that looks after the whole of, every New Zealander.
Right.
And, we want to invest, and we want to see everyone treated respectfully and treated with dignity in Aotearoa, not just the elite and the select few.
This week, the government finally released through the OIA secret warnings by Treasury that the government's neoliberal 30% debt straitjacket would cause cascade failures to public services to the point that there would be a total downgrade of the entire public service. Why on earth are we amputating the services that so many of us are reliant on for a narrow libertarian view on debt?
Oh, look, and I think this is part of the whole reason why, this whole neglect and the way that governments cut Whānau Ora, because that's one of the biggest, the biggest platforms that we have to look after everyone, is that they're only intent on protecting corporate profits. They're only intent on protecting those who are doing well, and they don't want to fund healthcare, education and Māori-led solutions. And I think, what we've seen is public services, including Whānau Ora, they're not luxuries, they're actually rights. And so slashing them is an act of violence.
Yes.
It's an act of violence against our most vulnerable communities.
It absolutely is. How do we explain to whānau living in cars that we can't do anything for them because the Milton Friedman Glee Club is concerned about our GDP debt ratio?
Well, that's the problem, is we can't, and we shouldn't be explaining it. And any politician that's trying to justify that is because they are part of the major groups that are funding, if not campaigns, that are the advocates and lobbyists that have been really unleashed with this government.
Yeah.
And, again, you know where I sit with seabed mining. We have entities that are coming in that we would never have allowed to not only exploit our people, but exploit our environment and exploit our ability to live peacefully. And I think this is, again, why Te Pāti Māori will continue with our treaty-based approach and funding solutions. Because again, kaupapa like Whānau Ora, they look after everyone. And we proved that during the COVID response. We weren't just looking after Māori, and we took the weight, we took the tension off the crisis in the public health system. And this is what we need to see in our mates that want to be working with us. Well, I don't think they do. Actually, they're going to need to know they need us, need to step up. They need to, they need to be prepared to upset some of their voters to do the bigger thing, which is get this government out and focus on how the hell we bring everyone's lives back to some normality where they can actually afford not only to live, but to live under a safe roof with kai on the table and their children being able to learn. Those are all the things that who thought we'd have to be, fighting for in 2025. And again, that's what we represent, and that's the foundation of who our movement is.
Amen. Finally, Debbie, Winston Peters attacked the Māori Party over the weekend with his usual mix of offensive insults and derogatory abuse. How concerned are you that political polarisation is only becoming more heated?
Oh yeah, it is. It is becoming more heated, but I see him in his twilight years, and we're going to be around a lot longer. The movement's going to grow beyond him, and again, we don't take it too personally because we're in the way. We're the only other party that's come back, and we will be in a king, queen, princess making position in 2026, and we're a threat to him. And a part of it is like I say, I love Hana when she goes Momo Tototo. We're proud of who we are. We're proud of Tangata Tiriti. We're proud of everyone that works together to look after each other. And Winston's, part of an elite few. So, yeah, I don't take much of what he says to heart.
Thank you, comrade. We look forward to speaking with you again soon. Kia ora.
You too. Ka kite.